There is a single moment, just seconds long, that has ruined more lives than war, disease, or poverty combined. It's not a dramatic explosion. It's quiet, almost invisible, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. The book of Proverbs warned about this moment thousands of years ago, and yet we keep walking straight into it. What if the biggest threat to your future isn't some outside enemy, but a decision you'll make in the next 10 seconds? Sounds unsettling, doesn't it? But ancient wisdom insists this is true, and modern life proves it over and over again. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll recognize these dangerous moments the instant they appear. And recognizing them in time might be the difference between a life that flourishes and one that quietly falls apart. Let's start with the most obvious one, and yet the one we underestimate the most. Proverbs 29:11 says a fool gives full vent to his anger. Think about that phrase for a second. Full vent. Not a little anger. Not a controlled reaction. Total release. Here's where it gets interesting. Anger itself isn't the problem. Everyone feels it. The real danger is the moment you decide to act on it without pausing. That text message you send at midnight. That comment you blurt out in a meeting. That decision made in 5 seconds of fury that costs you 5 years of consequences. Research on decision-making backs this up completely. Neuroscientists have shown that during intense anger, the rational part of your brain essentially goes offline. You're not thinking. You're reacting, and reactions made without thought rarely end well. Now let's talk about a quieter killer, one that hides behind confidence. Pride. Proverbs 16:18 gives us one of the most quoted lines in the entire book. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Notice it doesn't say pride causes minor inconvenience. It says destruction. The dangerous moment here isn't pride as a personality trait. It's the specific instant when someone offers you correction, and you choose to reject it. That flash of defensiveness. That inner voice saying, "I don't need this feedback." That's the fork in the road. Think about every major downfall you've heard about, whether it's a business leader, a public figure, or someone in your own life. Almost always, there was a warning sign they ignored because admitting fault felt too uncomfortable. The fall wasn't sudden. It was the result of one small refusal, repeated until it became a pattern. You might be wondering, what about the people around us? This brings us to the third dangerous moment, and it's sneaky because it doesn't feel like a decision at all. Proverbs 13:20 puts it plainly. Walk with the wise and become wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. Here's the critical part most people miss. You rarely choose to associate with a bad influence on purpose. It happens gradually, one invitation at a time, one late night at a time, one compromise at a time. The moment that ruins life isn't the friendship itself. It's the specific choice to stay silent when your gut says this relationship is pulling you somewhere dangerous. But wait, Therese more, because this principle cuts both ways. Just as toxic company drags you down, wise company builds you up in ways you can't always measure immediately. The people you spend the most time with are quietly shaping your habits, your values, and your decisions, whether you notice it or not. Now let's move on to laziness, a topic that sounds boring but hides an enormous amount of destruction. Proverbs 24:30-34 describes a field overtaken by thorns, all because the owner kept saying, "Just a little more sleep, a little more slumber." The dangerous moment here is procrastination disguised as rest. It's not laziness as a character flaw. It's the specific instant when you know something needs attention, and you choose comfort instead. One delayed conversation. One postponed medical checkup. One ignored financial problem. Small delays compound into disasters. What makes this particularly sneaky is that laziness never announces itself as dangerous. It feels harmless in the moment. But thorns don't grow overnight. They grow through years of tiny, unaddressed neglect, until the field is unrecognizable. Let's talk about something almost everyone underestimates, the moment of small compromise. Proverbs 5 warns extensively about being drawn away by seemingly small temptations, comparing them to a path that seems right but leads to death. Notice the word seems. That's the trap. The destructive moment isn't the big obvious sin most people imagine. It's the tiny justified exception. Just this once. Nobody will know. It's not that big of a deal. These phrases are the doorway through which massive life damage enters, because small compromises train your conscience to accept slightly bigger ones next time. Here's a sobering statistic worth considering. Studies on ethical behavior consistently show that people rarely go from complete integrity straight to major wrongdoing. Instead, there's a slow erosion, a series of small compromises that gradually shift what feels normal. The Proverbs warning about the seemingly right path captures this pattern with startling accuracy. Now, here's a dangerous moment that's almost invisible because it looks like independence. The refusal to seek counsel. Proverbs 12:15 states that the way of a fool seems right to him, but a wise man listens to advice. Think about the last major decision you made without asking anyone for input. Maybe it worked out fine. But the pattern of never seeking outside perspective is a slow-motion disaster waiting to happen. The dangerous moment is that specific second when you think, I don't need anyone else's opinion on this. Wise counsel acts like a mirror you can't provide for yourself. Other people see blind spots you cannot see in your own reasoning, your own emotions, and your own biases. Rejecting that mirror, even once, might not hurt. Rejecting it as a lifestyle almost guarantees eventual collision with reality. Let's discuss one more heavy hitter, the love of money. Proverbs 28:20 warns that whoever hastens to be rich will not go unpunished, essentially describing greed as an accelerant for disaster. This isn't a condemnation of wealth. It's a warning about the specific moment when financial gain becomes more important than integrity. Think of every major scandal involving fraud, corruption, or betrayal. At the center, there's almost always a single decision point where someone chose short-term financial gain over long-term trust. That moment feels small in isolation. In hindsight, it's the hinge on which an entire reputation swings. Finally, let's address the quiet moment of complacency, ignoring warning signs simply because things currently feel fine. Proverbs 22:3 says the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. The dangerous moment here is dismissing a warning because acknowledging it would require inconvenient change. This is the moment we most often ignore until it's too late, exactly as the title suggests. Health warnings ignored until diagnosis. Relationship warning signs ignored until separation. Financial warning signs ignored until collapse. The pattern repeats endlessly throughout history, because human nature resists disruption even when disruption would save us. So here's the question worth sitting with. Which of these 8 moments have already shown up quietly in your life this week? The angry reply you almost sent. The correction you brushed aside. The friendship that feels slightly off. The task you keep postponing. The small compromise you justified. The advice you refused to ask for. The financial shortcut that tempted you. The warning sign you decided to ignore. None of these moments feel dramatic while they're happening. That's precisely the danger the Proverbs writers understood so well. Destruction rarely announces itself with sirens. It slips in quietly, disguised as a reasonable choice in an ordinary moment. The encouraging part is this. Awareness changes everything. Once you can name these dangerous moments, you gain the power to pause before reacting, to invite correction instead of resisting it, to choose wise company deliberately, and to address small problems before they grow into thorny fields. Ancient wisdom isn't outdated advice. It's a map showing exactly where the cliffs are hidden. The next time you feel that flash of anger, that sting of correction, that pull toward a shortcut, or that urge to postpone something important, remember this conversation. That single moment is smaller than it feels, and yet it carries more weight than almost anything else in your life. Choose it wisely, because as Proverbs warned long ago, the fall rarely comes from one giant mistake. It comes from ignoring the small ones.